Let's dive into the multiverse. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's Jose here, welcoming you to another episode of Amazing Worlds, where today I am going to be reviewing The Fortress of the Pearl, more or less book 2 in the Elric saga by British author Michael Moorcock, diving into the multiverse. So, even though theoretically speaking this is book 2, this was written in 1989, so about 17 years after allegedly book 1 in the saga, Elric of Melniboné, which I already reviewed. Please check out the video if you haven't done so already. But I may have to do a video about the reading order for the Elric saga because it's an absolute mess. The saga started with Moorcock writing short stories in fantasy and fiction magazines in the UK, eventually novellas, but he didn't really have an internal established chronological order, and he was writing here and there whenever he felt like and then there have been several attempts to put some sort of cohesive narrative structure into the series, and this is book 2, Fortress of the Pearl. However, having said all of that, Fortress of the Pearl stands quite well on its own 2 feet, and you could technically, possibly, perhaps, read it first. You could start here. Yes, there are references to Elric of Melniboné. Yes, you may lose a bit of background on the character and history, but it's not essential to have read Elric of Melniboné before Fortress of the Pearl. Now, Fortress of the Pearl sees Elric traveling the world. He's traveling the world. He's left his cousin Yurkun, so the antagonist of book 1, after Elric defeats him, actually puts him on the throne that Yurkun wanted in any case in the first place. It's a bit weird. And he leaves his loved one, Simoril, who is Yurkun's sister, who is Elric's cousin, so it's all a bit weird and incestuous here. So he leaves them there and he goes to travel the world to gain wisdom and sort of search for a new set of values, morals. That's the sort of thing that the whole series seems to be on about, like how the Melnibonéans, the home nation of Elric, have lost its way over centuries, millennia perhaps, of rule, and they are corrupt, an evil society, and Elric has got other ideas, although he himself isn't exactly a Boy Scout. Let's put that out there. The story quickly becomes a poison and cure trope type thing that we have seen many times before, such as in Skip from LA or the Neuromancer book by William Gibson. Check out review. I'll leave the link in the description below if you haven't seen it. Also in book 2 of the Gentleman Bastards series, one of my very early videos, I'll leave the link again below. In book 2, Red Seas and the Red Skies, and it's basically where our protagonist is poisoned and is offered the antidote or the cure upon him completing some quest. So very, very tropey. We've seen it many, many times before. And here, Elric has to go and find this mythical pearl that is in this fortress, this Fortress of the Pearl, hence the title of the book. So Elric goes. Very quickly, though, we fall into the multiverse, and the way it is brought into the book and the way it is explained makes perfect sense. So I was a little bit hesitant when I read the first book, but here you go in and you go, oh yeah, that makes sense. So, without much spoilers, Elric goes on this quest, and in order to get to this fortress, he has to travel into the dream world. Don't be afraid here, okay? This is not Wheel of Time rubbish dream world. This dream world in the multiverse has got a distinct Dante's Inferno feel to it. there's like different layers, there's like different depths to this dream world through which Elric has to travel through different gates to get there. And in order to do so, he finds the aid of a dream thief. So dream thieves are people, entities, beings that travel through these dimensions, and they trade in dreams. And basically, it is a fantastic concept that dreams / nightmares, maybe someone's nightmare, they don't want it. You don't want to have that nightmare, so you would sell it. You would trade it away to this dream thief who might actually sell it to someone else. And it's weird. And it kind of makes sense then that there's a multiverse, because all these different universes, how would they connect? Well, they will connect through dreams, isn't it? Everyone dreams, no matter what your reality is, you dream. And the dream world, that's what I interpreted from it, is what becomes the connecting tissue of the multiverse. And actually, in traveling through the dream world, alongside the dream thief, Elric meets another eternal champion from another reality inside Moorcock's multiverse. It all made sense. It all clicked. Now, I'm not going to go into any spoilers here. The story, it's quite heavy on the fantasy elements. There are some mythical creatures, these fire beetles things. Elric still carries Stormbringer, his sentient sword, eater of souls. So there's all of that stuff going on. And in spite of being the hero, and in spite of being, perhaps not necessarily the hero, but the main character of the story, like I said before, Elric isn't a Boy Scout. So he ends up with the Dream Thief in spite of having declared his undying love for Silmaril. So you know, it is not graphic at all in the description of the sex scene, but it is there and it's kind of justified, and they both kind of agree to it, and they both enjoy it, and they both understand what the reality is, and it's just, you know, different take on what you normally get with fantasy books. Now, it is a short story, or it's a short book, I suppose I should say. I read it on my Kindle. I'm going with the new Gollancz editions because this was readily available. It's really difficult to find the original prints or the Door collected editions from the 70s. So this is what I would recommend getting your hands on, and if not, electronically works really, really well. A lot, this you kind of discover the world and the universe as Elric discovers it, and sort of information is fed to you as a reader very, very much on a need-to-know basis, with the risk that sometimes, as the plot moves forward, every now and then you get little bits, you get fed crumbs, there's little info dumps. It's not overwhelming at all, because the writing style is very sparse. Like I said, the books are short, but they pack a lot of action. So you kind of learn as you go along. In this particular edition, the drawings that we had in the first book are totally absent here. You just get the story, and there's a nice intro by Neil Gaiman. We had Alan Moore in the first book, Neil Gaiman here. Everyone praising the wonders and the majesty of Michael Moorcock. Overall, I liked it. It is very different from a lot of, or pretty much every other bit of fantasy I've actually read. It is quite enjoyable, and I am definitely going to continue with the Elric saga. Probably read it in between Wheel of Time books. This gets my seal of approval, and this is it. This is all I had for today. This was my review of Fortress of the Peril in the book 2 in the Elric saga by Michael Moorcock. As usual, I would like to thank you all for watching, liking, subscribing. Please comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know your takes if you've read Elric or you're intending to read Elric. and I should give credit where it's due. Also check out the Nihilist Geeks video on the Elric reading order. I've given it a couple of watches. You cannot really trust Wikipedia with that, so I am going to do my sort of version and updated take on it because of I've been doing my research and stuff like that. But shout out to the Nihilist Geek, and as usual, everyone, please take loads and loads of care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.